It's Not Your Fault is a podcast for parents, caregivers, and young people navigating the world and its challenges. Here's your host, Brandon Jones.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the very first installment of It Is Not Your Fault, a teen mental health podcast. I am your host, Brandon Jones, former psychotherapist, currently the executive director of Minnesota Association for Children's Mental Health. And I look forward to coming and chatting with you all weekly, discussing mental health from the perspective of someone who's worked with a lot of young people, someone who's developed programs, has a lot of conversations, have mentored, and I've also trained folks who work and parents who work with young people. So I look forward to being able to come here and share some insights and some things to get your thought and your brain wheels turning a little bit as we move and help young people navigate the world around us. But before we dive into some good content, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Yes, that is right. We have a sponsor on the very first episode of It Is Not Your Fault, the podcast. So, Minneapolis holds a special place in entrepreneur and designer Houston White's heart. It's where he got to start. So whether it's launching the Get Down Coffee Company or his new Houston White for Target collection, Houston takes immense pride in giving back and inspiring those around him. Watch Houston discuss turning passions into reality and the importance of lifting the community up on Target's exciting content series, Black Beyond, now playing on youtube.com/Target. Houston's doing awesome things, he's showing up, he's living, that he's role modeling a lifestyle of how to be successful and how to, take ideas and put them into fruition. And that is one of the most encouraging things you can do in the community. So shout out to Houston. We look forward to seeing him develop and seeing him inspire so many people to do the same things within our community. It's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about today. Today's the intro. It's the first podcast. Really, the goal of today is to just share some insights, just to talk a little bit about why this podcast is important, and talk a little bit about the title. This podcast is an offshoot of the Teen Whisperer podcast. And we want to say rest in peace to our brother, Jason Clopton, who unfortunately passed away not too long ago. And we sunset that podcast, and we're launching this new one to honor him and the work that he's done. He is the Teen Whisperer. And for the folks who filled in for him while he was battling with the things that he had going on, we were just teen whisperers in the making. We were not the actual teen whisperers. Although we do great work, there was only one teen whisperer, so it was only right for us to sunset that podcast in honor to the man himself. But the work is still going to go on, right? We're going to still live out the legacy and the efforts that Mr. Clopton put together, and we're going to make sure that he knows that we're going to memorialize him and the work that we continue to do and show up in community for young people just the same way that he did. And this podcast, again, it's a launch off of that. And the reason why this podcast is titled It Is Not Your Fault is because in my clinical history, in my professional experience, I've run into so many parents and caregivers, and we have that conversation about the young person in their life, and they get to this weird place of blaming themselves. It's very easy to blame ourselves for the things that don't quite go right with young people. And one of the things that I had to continue to learn how to do and find the best ways to articulate it was to tell parents that it's not their fault, but at the same time help them understand some of the dynamics and factors that were at play that did influence some of their children's behaviors or their mental health outcomes, etc. So it might not have been their fault 100%, but there is some level of responsibility. And I think what ends up happening is parents feel that and they take 100% accountability for the things that happen. But we have to understand some things are just completely out of our control. We can't dictate every outcome based on what children go through. So knowing that, we have to be able to accept some of the difficulties that we learn about with our children and understand where our children are and what we can do moving forward. And that's really the true essence of this podcast. It's not to blame you. It's not to shame you. It's really just to give some insight to help us all move forward. Whether you are a parent a caregiver, maybe you're a youth worker, or maybe you're a young person yourself. It's just understanding where you're at or the things that you may be going through and how do you move forward now that you know. And parents, we do this. We blame ourselves. Even myself, I'm a father. I have three daughters, 9, 6, and 1 years old. And when I look at those three little ladies, they all are different. They have different personalities. They do things differently than me. And there's things that I want all three of them to do the way that I want them to do it, right? Because I'm the dad. I want you to do this because it make my life easier. But I know they're navigating and learning the world from their own perspective. And my goal is to make sure that they have an environment that they can grow and develop in that is healthy, right? There's not harm being done to them. They have some voice, some choice. They have opportunities to discover and let their curiosity develop. And then they also get encouragement, support, care, and love all in the home. And that's what's key when we talk about youth development. Because let me tell you, when our young people get to those teenage years, 12, 13, 14, and up, our young people are more influenced by their social surroundings. It's just natural. Psychologists knew this years ago. When we talk about childhood development, the parents' influence usually starts to dwindle away around the ages of about 9, 10, 11 years old. And by the time that young person hits middle school, it's about the socialization. It's about the friends, the schools, the activities they participate in. That's how your young person is starting to identify around that time. It ain't about you. It ain't about you, but you still have influence, right? You still have influence. So don't think I'm saying just give up. It's just saying be aware of what's going on so that you don't lose your mind when things aren't quite going right. And like I said, I have a 9-year-old. So I have a daughter who's getting ready to launch into this space. And I see it, right? Right now, we're in the middle of school starting. School starting up, this year was very different than last year. She's caring about the clothing she wears. She doesn't just want any tennis shoes. She wants Nikes. And I got a little 9-year-old who she looks like she's probably 11. She's a lot taller than a typical 9-year-old is. And her feet are pretty big. I mean, she's almost wearing the same size shoe as her mother. So her shoes cost the same amount of as an adult's do now. She's out of the little kids shoe section. She's in the little girl, the little women's shoe section. So I'm like, girl, you want Nikes? Like, oh boy, okay, we got to have a conversation. This is a different level of responsibility now. If you want me to pay this amount for these type of shoes, I mean, we went from paying $20 to $30 for shoes to now her shoes are in the hundreds. Like, well, you got to take some responsibility. And I have to understand as her father what that means for her development, that appearance, right? She wants to wear her hair a particular way. She wants to wear a certain type of clothing. She's speaking differently. She started this school year off with glasses. Like all that appearance stuff for her is huge for her socialization. And her socialization is huge towards her mental and emotional development because she doesn't want to become one of the kids that gets picked on or talked about or ousted. She wants to kind of blend in and fit within the social group, because that's a protective factor. And we have to know these things as parents, as we engage with our young people. So I have a pretty much a preteen in the making right now. So we have to pay attention to things. Some of you may be dealing with 16-year-olds and they're way more advanced into where they are as far as their developmental pieces and things of that nature. So, our goal here at this podcast is to have those real conversations. I'm going to share a little bit of my personal life. I'm going to share some stories of other people. I might even bring some questions from other parents or young people that they may have to answer. And I would invite you to ask any questions as well, and we'll bring those to the show as well. So I think we spent a good amount of time talking about today's show. And again, I want to share with you one more time our sponsor, because you have to check out this series. Like, this series is amazing from Target. So Minneapolis holds a special place in entrepreneur and designer Houston White's heart. It is where he got his start. So whether it's launching the Get Down Coffee Company or his new Houston White for Target collection, Houston takes immense pride in giving back and inspiring those around him. Watch Houston discuss turning passions into realities and the importance of lifting the community up on Target's exciting content series, Black Beyond, now playing at youtube.com/Target. Be sure to check that out. And also be sure to come back to this podcast. Subscribe to it on all platforms, whatever platform's your favorite. Be sure to subscribe. Share this podcast with somebody that you care about. And with that, I want to encourage you to be safe, be constructive, and be the best that you can be. Until next time, I'm Brandon Jones. You can check me out at www.jegna.org. Till next time, peace.
To check out previous episodes of It's Not Your Fault, or to learn more about Brandon Jones, log on to ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
At Hy-Vee, we take pride in being part of the communities we serve. In 2021, we donated more than 14 million meals, and this year, we're committed to doing even more. For over 90 years, we've been the place that people turn in time of need, and we take that very seriously. That's why we're loading our semis full of food this week and making deliveries across the Midwest to help families this Easter. To join our effort, simply donate when you're at the checkout. Together, we can make a big difference for those in need.
Get fast, reliable internet for any budget. Now qualifying customers can get Xfinity Internet free through the Affordable Connectivity Program. That's right, free high-speed internet from Xfinity. And Internet Essentials customers can get equipment included at no extra cost. Get started today.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Y'all know how important helping the community is to me, and let's be honest, our communities need us right now. All of us. People are always asking me, Shaletta, how can I make a difference? Well, I have the answer. Xcel Energy is putting on its annual day of service, and you can take part. It's happening Thursday, September 8th through Sunday, September 11th. There will be nearly 80 nonprofit projects where you can volunteer to pack meals for folks in need, put together school supply kits, and more. Join thousands of your neighbors along with Xcel Energy employees. You can even get your kids involved. It's a meaningful opportunity for your entire family to make a difference. To learn more about Xcel Energy's Day of Service project, go to their website at www.xcelenergy.com/DOSinfo. Do your part to give back to the places where we all live and work.